This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
When we think of Egypt, what often comes to mind first are the pyramids and the Sphinx. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the oldest and largest of the three pyramids in the Giza complex, and it's also the oldest of the seven wonders of the world. What we see today are the huge building blocks, but the pyramids were once covered in polished limestone, which reflected the sun's light so brilliantly, ancient Egyptians called the pyramid Ikhet, which means glorious light. They're still absolutely incredible today, especially when you're right up close. And building them was a complex and fascinating form of art. This week, we continue our journey of exploration and take a look at some different forms of Egyptian art. We also get a modern-day look at an ancient sport. I am Liu Feifei, and this is Talk Africa. Perhaps due to the diversity of art in Egypt, the ancient Egyptian language didn't have one single word to describe art. Ancient Egyptian art forms included paintings, pottery, jewelry making, sculptures, and music. One of the most well-known and fascinating musical styles that's still being practiced today is belly dancing, and Cairo is known as the belly dancing capital of the world. There are different opinions about the origin of belly dancing, but some of the first belly dancers were a group of traveling dancers known as the Gawazi. These women were considered gypsies in Egypt in the 18th century and were banished from Cairo during the 1830s, but went on to perform in Upper Egypt and later in the Middle East and Europe. Today, there are many different forms of belly dancing, from tribal to cabaret, Egyptian, Turkish, and more. They differ in terms of music used, costumes, specific movements, and technique. But belly dancing remains a sensual form of dance and is largely only performed after dark. Over time, musical styles in Egypt have evolved, and today a new generation of young musicians have emerged. One of them is Shahira Kamal, who is a local Cairo underground musician. We met up with her at the Arcade Gallery to find out more about her musical style. Hey Shahira, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm feeling kind of cool because it's not every day I get to meet an underground musician.
I'm glad you
Kind
like
of
that.
edgy. What exactly does that mean to be an underground musician?
Well, an underground musician, first of all, is independent. So it's fine. An underground musician is not supported financially by any like production company or sponsorship. Usually, we take care of our production from A to Z, or through our friends or music producers. It's usually like a community development project.
What is the goal of that? Is it one day to be above ground?
Well, the goal is to succeed generally. So you always want to reach people and have a bigger fan base. Be it above ground, below ground, these are just terminologies for us. As a musician, you're really happy when people listen to you, aside from anything. And platforms are now very diverse, like you have the social media, you have venues where you play live music. So it's not that much about being commercial or mainstream, it's just about reaching people.
Now, I understand in Egypt, underground music has become really popular over the recent years. How did this happen?
Well, I suppose from my point of view, it started with the revolution. Underground scene was there way before the revolution, definitely, but some venues opened up, and the liberty to express became bigger, where the underground musicians came up and they started having a platform to play music and be listened to, and add to that the social media and how it's easy to spread through it on all levels. So bit by bit, it just became really strong and powerful, actually.
Is there a defining musical style to this contemporary underground scene?
I suppose most of the underground scene has a fusion of a bit of the Western music and the Egyptian culture. Add to that the Egyptian lyrics as well.
What about for yourself? How did you get started becoming a musician?
Well, it took me a long time to come out and say that I actually sing, but this actually happened like around 10 years ago or less. And when I started believing in what I present and working with my friends on music, because lucky me, I have a community of artists and musicians who were very encouraging. And bit by bit, I made this music video with a friend of mine who's a very, very famous Egyptian musician and part of a huge band called Kairoki. It's one of the major underground bands in Egypt. And he rose as well in the same area at the same time of the revolution. And we collaborated in a song, and then the song became a hit. And then I was like, oh, maybe I can do that. So, and it worked. Yeah.
How would you define your musical style, your own personal style?
I'm always also not sure how to define it, because the genres are, it's not one genre. I'm not playing jazz, I'm not playing rock, I'm not playing Egyptian pure music. So I would say it's an indie style of indie pop, maybe, yeah.
And what are the themes that you love to sing about?
I really like singing about very personal experiences, and also I like adding a lot of sarcasm to my music, so I make fun of some of the trends happening lately, and then I bring out certain aspects of our life in Egypt and I highlight it in a bit of a funny way. Or
since I cannot understand Arabic, can you give me a translation of some of these sarcastic snippets in your
I have a song that people really like. It's about the trends. So everybody lately is going to, for example, meditation and yoga. So the song is about me trying out many things to find happiness. And all of those things are very costly. So I end up very depressed. So whether it's meditation, yoga, you have to pay a lot for all of that. Or to go play kite surfing. These are all trends happening in Egypt.
How do you reconcile that with your own lifestyle, though? It sounds kind of bohemian, right?
Yes,
so, I mean, can you
sustain it? I go through everything I sing, honestly. And yeah, so far, I still go through personal experiences, and it's all coming from my life. Whether, even if it's about a breakup or a love relationship or about a state of confusion or philosophy, it's always something coming out of my personal thoughts and questionings, yeah.
So like, say we're friends and we have a fight, next day I will
end
up being your song.
You don't want to go there.
Oh, that girl, she was no good.
You'll be all over the place.
Now, in terms of contemporary mainstream music, though, where do you think the scene is heading in Egypt?
The mainstream scene? Well, honestly, I think the scene in general is heading into many directions. People are starting to listen more to different kinds of music, and which creates more grounds for diverse styles, which is very good. And people need to work on it more, like understand how to listen to something you're not used to and not really your taste, but opening up yourself to do options. Yet, again, every musician has an audience, which is a huge step now. Like 10, 15 years ago, things were very limited, and now it's a different situation.
Who is your key audience?
I guess my key audience is my generation, for example, like 30s, mid-20s, perhaps early 40s. And of course, I don't have this huge base of fans. Like, I don't know, honestly. I go and play in venues, underground venues, which are kind of limited. Still, I'm a little musician.
It sounds very idealistic, like a pursuit of your absolute passion. Does that sit well with your family? Are they supportive of your efforts?
Very, actually. Surprisingly. My siblings, of course, they're supporting me. My mother, at the beginning, she was like, because traditionally here, it's not what families seek as a career, especially that my career in real is art, is an artist, so it makes it even worse though. Where's the corporate life? Where's your monthly income? Like where's the whole stable shape that families feel comfortable around? So it took her some time to realize that this is actually my thing, but my mother is extremely supportive, and actually she's the reason why I'm what I am right now. It's her fault.
But you've always been drawn to art. You started out actually as a painter,
Yes,
a
exactly.
visual artist.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the work in that field.
Well, I've been studying fine arts when I was a young girl in college, and then I got into corporates for a while, and then I went back to art. I could not stay away from it. It's very challenging, and it needs a lot of patience, just like any freelance job. But at some point, the more you work and the more you pursue jobs and you learn tricks and you know how to establish yourself in the field, it becomes a bit by bit easier, and you're recognized as an artist. So everything else comes out of word of mouth, and your presence is already there, so it becomes much easier. But then again, it's a challenging field. It's a very challenging field, and at the end of the day, you're driven with passion.
Are you still painting today?
Of course, yes. I just finished an art exhibition like last week.
Do we also find the social commentary, satirical paintings?
Yes, a little
What
bit,
style?
but no, it's all collage. My theme, all of it, of the last art exhibition was all about music, and actually it was a fundraising art exhibition. The point behind it was that all the money that I get through this art exhibition will go directly to the recordings of my new album.
And in terms of your music, how many songs have you written since the beginning of your career? Do you know? Yeah, lots.
I don't know, that's
Countless.
a lot. I have a lot in the drawer and I have a lot out, so my basic set list is around 14 to 16 songs. I play around them, but I have much more hidden, yes.
What would be one of your greatest hits?
Well, there's this song where I'm very sarcastic and everybody loves it. It's about this person in our lives that's always sad and upset, and he doesn't want to do anything, and he doesn't want to solve his issues, but he's always complaining. So you know this person, this friend that you like, but when they start complaining, you just want to, you know, do it chill, and I can't help you, you're not helping yourself. So I'm kind of sarcastic about this. It's about procrastination, yes.
So I noticed some of the guys from your band outside. Would it be possible to get a sample of this underground Egyptian music?
Sure thing. Let me go get the guys.
Awesome, awesome.
تأنيب ضمير مستمر وشعور دائم بالتقصير زائد تعبير عن شيل الهم وعمق مبالغ في التفكير. طب بس نفهم ليه دايما شايلنا الهم شايلنا الهم، ليه دايما شايلنا الهم شايلنا الهم. صاحي من النوم واكل شارب ولا يوم تتنازل للتغيير. عيونك مليانة بؤس، حاجة يعني صعيبة.
awesome. Thank you so much. And on that note, we're going to take a short break, but don't go away because when we come back, we're going to take a look at an ancient sport that is still being practiced on the Nile today. Stay tuned.
Life moves pretty fast. Ideas move at the speed of sound. Technology moves at the speed of light. If you don't filter out the noise, you might miss the details. We pay attention to the details because they matter, showing you a different perspective. See the difference.
One of the most physically challenging sports in Egypt's culture for centuries has been rowing. Let's go meet a lady who practices this ancient sport on the Nile today. Hey, morning, Emma.
Good morning, how are you? Oh, good.
Emma, I gotta thank you for giving me the opportunity to see the sunrise over Cairo.
Yeah, well, sorry for that. You had to wake up at 5.
In fact, we woke up before the break of dawn, but of course, that is what you do. What time do you start practicing for rowing?
Yeah, so we start at 6. Yeah, it's usually tough in the winter because it's quite dark. And yeah, we wake up at like 5 to be here on time.
And is that like every day, or you have some days off?
If you train like high performance, you have to do this every day, at least six days a week. Over here, we train 4 days a week, which is, as a start, is quite tough also. To wake up at 5 every 4 days a week, it's also tough.
Of course, you are high performance because you've been the national champion of rowing here in Egypt for many, many years. What inspired you or motivated you to start rowing?
Yeah, so it's a funny story. It was back in the revolution time, 2011. And just during the revolution, I decided, I want to start something new. And it's like a time where everyone's changing lives. And I decided to go for rowing. I've been seeing boats going back and forth for years, and I was curious and never like really knew where to go. But then decided to walk into one club and like start rowing in the middle of everything that's happening.
And the rest was history, as they say. But of course, rowing is not new to Egypt. I believe this is one of the birthplaces of rowing. And of course, I mean, the Nile River is right here. Do you know the history of rowing yet?
So yeah, it goes back to the time of the pharaohs, and we have the pictures of pharaohs rowing on temples, on the walls, and it's like it was mostly for transportation. And then we adopted competitive rowing, I would say, a bit later. Because first people who started it were the British, and then it went on to the rest of the world. Over here, I would say we have around 15 different clubs all over the country who row, and no more than 700 athletes, which I would say is a bit modest. We could do much more. I mean, having the Nile stretched from south until all the way north, I'm pretty sure we can have like everyone rowing on the Nile.
I mean, that must be so amazing though, to be rowing on like the world's most famous river every morning.
Yeah, well, you know, we have the misconceptions and myths about the Nile. Even Egyptians do, but yeah, the rest of the world, they would ask me, oh, so you row on the Nile? So are there crocodiles? Yeah, like, yeah, we have crocodiles, of course. This is how we are so fast, because you have to row away from crocodiles. No, of course, we don't have crocodiles over here, thanks to our big dam at the bottom of our country. But yeah, so we have misconceptions over the Nile. It's a great place to be. We have water all year round. It's such a beautiful body of water for us rowers, and we have to make use of it more than that. So the taboos that we need to think away of, no crocodiles, The Nile is the water. It's just like any other kind of water. It's not like gonna, do anything. It's just like any other water. It has current, so you have to think about that. No diseases, because it's flowing, so it's not possible. Yeah, so nothing to be afraid of. We just need to take care of the Nile. Raise awareness of don't throw things on the Nile. Take care of it. It's where we drink out of. It's where we live, and it's where we train.
So what does it take to make a rowing champion?
It takes a lot of discipline. I would say discipline and consistency that makes the technique perfect. That also makes you excel physically, because it's a lot of training. You have to really give away so much of your life. You have to sleep maximum at 9 p.m., which is also, yeah, it's a lot of sacrifice, because your social life, friends and family, and also you have to pay a little bit from your work, because yeah, it comes at a price, to be honest. But discipline, and then you have to really, really want to do that, because yeah, the motivation.
And what is the highest pinnacle of success? I mean, you're already the national champion of rowing in Egypt. Is there like international competitions? Is there Olympic?
Yeah, well, right. Well, I have a different point of view in here, because it depends what success means to you, right? Because we suffer. Many athletes tend to suffer from competition, because in the end, only one person could be on the podium getting the gold, right? So in the end, so many people would also think it's unfair, because everyone's working so hard. I would think success is what you would just bring out of it. And for me, it wasn't like to go to the world champions, and it wasn't to win the national championships. For sure, it added so much to me, but also the times when I lost are the most times that I think I've learned so much out of losing.
What did you learn from losing?
To be humble, to be humble, to be honest, because everyone is breakable, right? At some point, and when you break, you learn so much. You learn that you are just you're not what you thought you would be, or what else you would need to work on, and yeah, I mean, those were the times that I think were most valuable. Also, the success would come out of it is that you see the love out of people around you. If you support others around you, that they would love you, they would give this back to you, this passion that you have, that also is transmitted to the people around you, that comes back. I think this is also success. Maybe some people care so much about like winning the gold in the Olympics, and this is what they think of success. Also, this is possible. But I would say for myself, it wasn't like this wasn't the goal.
But you have been very successful nonetheless, and you were selected to be trained out of a handful of elite athletes. Tell us about this experience.
I'm very grateful for this opportunity. So there is a program by FISA, which is the International Federation for Rowing, and I've been also getting so much support from my federation in Egypt, having to believe in me and trust that I can represent Egypt internationally. And then I was selected among 25 other women from 6 different sports to represent my country and be on this 14 months program in the UK. Yeah, it's amazing to come across different women from different sports. Everyone's so passionate over what they're doing, and then come back with this information to Egypt and try to implement it. Yeah, it's so much to take in, so much work that needs to be done. Also, exciting, and yeah, and hopefully rewarding.
Rowing as a male-dominated sport, like many other sports. When you decided to become a rower here in Egypt, the country that's so deep in tradition, how did your family react to that? Are they supportive?
Yeah, my family is always supportive to the decisions that I take. Yeah, always. Nothing related to family. I was like also very independent, raised very independent. So it was my decision to start rowing or to stop or go into coaching, of course, for sure. In terms of the of male dominance, I mean, it's something that we have to not fight in an aggressive way, but I think if we're there and if we prove that we can be as competent and as efficient and as professional, I mean, of course, I mean, there's no. It changes. Times are changing, to be honest, and it's not the same. 10 years ago, you wouldn't see all the females, all those strong women, young, old ages, on the Nile rowing, for instance, right? And we're pushing. Yeah, we are pushing so hard. There are like also rules of 50-50 gender equity that now we have to be in there. We have to step up and we have to prove that we can actually take this challenge and we can represent our countries and we can be as strong and we can be as professional. And there's nothing wrong about that.
And to this end, you're starting to teach rowing in your own school.
Yeah, I mean, women, men, everyone has a place over here, and I'm very happy with how things are going.
So Emma, does that mean anyone, absolutely anyone, can come and learn how to row with you?
Anyone can come, even you.
Even me? Yeah. Oh my goodness! Now I'm challenged.
All right, so let's go for it.
All right, let's do it.
Yes, I'm the cox. And
what does that mean?
It means the person who steers the boat. Push your oar all the way in into the oar lock, into the slope. There you go. There. Yes, that's it. Yes, okay. So get a close grip. Yes, there you go. Okay. Take the oar all the way back and out of the boat. Alright? Now what I want you to do is the oar in the water and then pull all the way towards.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a very strong app. Wow. This has been fantastic. I've gotten a workout already. Emma, thank you so much.
Thank
I'll
you.
look forward to an actual lesson one day.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll wait for that.
Even today, the Great River Nile continues to hold an invaluable place in the lives of Egyptians. We still have so much to see and explore in this amazing land, but unfortunately, we've come to the end of our show. We'll definitely have to come back though. Thank you all so much for joining us as we've explored just a snippet of life along the Nile. And a big thank you to all of our guests for sharing their insights. You can join the conversation through our social media handles on Facebook and Twitter. You can also catch this and other episodes of Talk Africa on our YouTube playlist. Do keep the conversation going and join us again next week for more of Talk Africa. From me, Liu Feifei, and the team here in Egypt, thank you and see you next time.